My dear friends, today after +4, Dorcol, Belgrade, Dorcol was very famous in the 90s for its, gangs, the famous Dorcol gangs. Then it somehow lost the importance, with this regard at least, because there were some gangs from other areas starting picking up. But traditionally, Dorcol gangs at the beginning of the mafia, the intensive mafia life in Serbia, were one of the toughest. When I say beginning of the mafia life, I'm referring to the 90s. Then the Voždovac clan took a leading role. I believe, I'm not so familiar with it, but and then the famous Zemun gang. What I wanted to share with you, the music at the back. Micha Petrovic, Djurdjevdan, just 5 days ago was famous Djurdjevdan, traditional celebration. And now zapevala Sojka Ptica, Kralja Petra Street in front of us, famous Dorcol Street, still in Kaldrma, covered with Kaldrma. I will need to avoid because this street is under construction right now. Nice combi, nice looking, really. Cara Dušna Street, probably the most famous Serbian ruler. Extended the borders of the Serbian Empire all the way to Thessaloniki, to Aegean Sea. Cloudy day, but quite warm. 29 degrees actually as we speak. 29 degrees Celsius, although it's cloudy. Today's date was marked as, now let's go back to COVID-19. Let me share with you some recent statistics. First, 2 additional deceased patients yesterday, so the total death toll 215. 82 newly infected persons, so the total number being slightly over 10,100. Out of 140,000 total testings, and over 3,000 cured patients so far. So far so good, some would say. Whether to take the route through the city center. Yeah, let's go to the city center. COVID. Today's date is also interesting with regards of the restart of sports, practically sports trainings in a closed environment, in sport halls. Of course, I'm eagerly waiting to hear the news about it. So the decision was published, although it was taken on the 28th of April, it was only published today, the detailed decision on what are the requirements and blah blah blah. So we are now waiting for the club manager, actually the club manager and owner, to tell us the details so that we can restart our trainings with regards to badminton. There is a sport relatively similar to badminton, but also not so much. It used to be called speedminton, but over the recent years it was renamed to crossminton, if I'm not... I mean, I've been told by a friend of mine, actually practically her club mate from the badminton club. He used to be very active in this sport. Practically also told me that he was playing this sport for Serbia. I don't know how much it developed. Yesterday I played a bit when I was at some green field in Sopot, practically the green yard of the cabinet craft brewery. There is a nice green yard in front of or behind, in front of the brewery. It's not easy. It's not easy to play because the rackets are. I mean, the rackets are quite similar to the ones of squash, so nothing similar to badminton rackets. And when you hit, I mean, the ball looks like a badminton ball, but I mean, it's only judging by the shape, because it's not really a ball. It has this cone shape, but doesn't have much to do because it's much more heavy. I mean, the ball is made of plastic. The head is much heavier than the badminton. So when you hit it by this racket, it can fly. It can really fly. I mean, wow. If you hit it hard, I don't know. Probably can fly even more than a tennis ball if you hit it very hard with a tennis racket. I don't know. I mean, this is just my feeling. I never hit it so hard, but really it can fly. Really. So in order to control it, during the play, it's not so easy. But I would say my combination of a lot of experience from tennis and some recent experience, a couple of years of badminton, could give me a relatively good base for playing this sport. In terms of, because I practically never, only maybe over the recent months I started kicking badminton and holding the racket the way it should be held. Not yet complete, but trying to forget what I learned about tennis and practically adjust to this badminton sport that is similar yet very different. In terms of how you kick the ball, how you hold. I mean, how do you hold the racket? It's definitely backhand is being played quite differently, etc. Smash is actually what is relatively similar, and this is where tennis helped me a lot. But everything other than smash. However, in badminton you can play smash quite often, much more often than in tennis, essentially. We are now approaching the city center. This is the famous Francuska Street, the French street. The building on our left is the military club of military officers, something like that. But slowly but surely we are approaching the main square of Belgrade, the Square of Freedom. On our right, the building, strangely shaped, is the National Theatre of Serbia. And just behind is the main square. Also, the National Museum is located at this square. The statue of the horse rider, Knez Mihailo, and yeah, a lot of touristic restaurants, gift shops, tourist info center, etc., etc. Up until a year ago, it looked quite different than today, but then it suffered is probably the proper word, major reconstruction. Now it's quite done in quite a minimalistic style. It's quite minimalistic. You will see it's one big nothing in essence on it. But okay, one can argue that it is logical maybe to be like that, because the way it used to be was maybe quite yeah, many things actually were there. So not from the perspective of potential demonstrations, for instance, this is now much better. How does it look? Because it can accept more people than it used to. This is a place definitely of this place has quite a history of demonstrations. 9th of March 1990 was probably, this is now the square. 1990 March, the big demonstrations against Milosevic in essence. This was probably the time when we were quite close to doing something and possibly preventing some bad events. All the wars from happening. But this is now, if you say it laconically, yes, maybe, but it was definitely very difficult to prevent wars, because it was not only Milosevic, and it's how, I don't know, one has to be very naive to believe that Milosevic was the cause of all the evils that happened in the territory of ex-Yugoslavia. I firmly believe that all the people in the West are not so naive, but sometimes it's easier for them to just trust what their governments are telling them. It makes their life much more simple, and therefore, yeah, many opt for that option. The war would probably happen with or without Milosevic, no doubt about it, because there was another guy called Franjo Tuđman, and then another called Alija Izetbegović. All of them wanted to be sultans. Well, their credo was better to be the mayor even of one small region, or even the city, than to be part of the administration of some larger country. Be it as it was, or may. We are now in Terazije, but practically Terazije srpskih vladara and Kralja Milana Street. Actually, the name srpskih vladara may not anymore be in use. I have to check. Kralja Milana is actually even this section, so I could be that srpskih vladara does not exist anymore as a name of this section of the street. But it may be that I'm also just ignorant. The Andrićev Venac will be on our left, and this is the place of the government of the city of Belgrade, a small park. To the right, you probably saw it only for a second, is the newly built statue of the Nikolai II Romanov, the Russian ruler. In front of us, at the very far end, is the church of the temple of Saint Sava. Actually, we are now passing. Will be soon pass. Crossing the not maybe so much crossing, but stopping before the intersection with Kneza Miloša Street, one of the main arteries of Belgrade, I mean the traffic arteries. And the building on our left, that I'm now trying to show you somehow, is the ex-building of U-Banka, the one at the corner, and then followed by Alpha Bank. This is where I used to be working for more than 6 years within Alpha Bank, practically almost up until the moment when it was sold to the local tycoon. Yeah, the Greeks have withdrawn from the banking sector of Serbia, with the exception of one bank, the Eurobank. The three other systemic banks in Greece, namely Alpha Bank, Piraeus Bank and the National Bank of Greece, have withdrawn from the market. Yeah, due to the crisis, the overall, I mean, financial crisis, world financial crisis, but also the Greek sovereign crisis, they were forced to withdraw. Now approaching Belgrađanka on our right used to be the tallest building at the Balkans. Now the intersection with Resavska Street and the SKC, Studentski Kulturni Centar, the yellow building. And just behind is the Yugoslav Drama Theater. On our left, the Campo dei Fiori, the Cvetni Trg, the Flowers Square. Now the newly built Hotel Hilton on the left. On the right, there will be a building of the National Center, head office of the National Bank of Serbia, and the Sklavia Square with a nice, I mean, nice or less nice fountain. The fountain also changes lights. There is also music. Not now, but at a certain point of the day there will be music. Illumination will be changing. Various lights will be appearing, etc., etc. So overall, could be nice, but there was a lot of controversy with regards to this fountain. Now the street, Boulevard Oslobođenja is the name of the street leading to Autokomanda. Boulevard of the Liberation Boulevard. We'll be approaching soon the Karadjordjev Park with the building of the National Library of Serbia and the Saint Sava Temple, and the Church of Saint Sava as well, not to be forgotten. The king is dead, but not forgotten. This is the story of Johnny Rotten. This is not the story of Johnny Rotten, but just your host, DJ P, that is taking you through the streets of Belgrade. Okay, let's cut, not the bullshit, but cut the video here, and we'll talk to you soon again. Bye bye.